John, you don't need an invite every time, then, do you? Or do you still need an invite every time?
How you feel, brother?
I mean, I didn't know. Like, if every time I send, do you need a new live button or for the studio or not, or can you come in without it?
No, yeah, I got to get a new one every time.
Okay, all right, cool. All righty, very good. Very
Otherwise,
good.
I would have been in last time when it kicked me out.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah.
All right, very good. Well, hi guys, hello everybody. I'm George. I'm the old guy on the block, and I got we're going right down in age. We got George, John, and Kelly. There you are. Look at that. Look at that.
Well, I'm the youngest. Oh, I feel honored.
You are the youngest. You're the baby. You're the baby. So we're going to talk about some fun stuff today, and it's called metabolic health. And one of the things that's kind of silly is that most people don't even know what metabolic refers to. And it refers to the energy, being able to convert energy in your body. Okay, seems pretty simple. You don't have to think about it. But what the difference is, and why you should think about it, is the issue is of what we put in and what it produces sometimes isn't what we want it to produce, is it? And so that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the issues with metabolic health. And we're going to talk about it from a standpoint, guys, of this. We're going to talk about this. Come over here. I'll move that. Put this over here. There we go. And then not necessarily about the fat belly, but we're going to talk about it. But our agenda is we're going to talk about a few surveys. We're going to talk about what kind of struggles we face. What kind of struggles we face and what we know you are facing out there as well. And then we're going to talk a little bit quick history, just how did we get here? Because I'm dealing from a perspective of 73 years. And for about the first half of my life, I didn't have these kinds of issues. They weren't around. They just weren't. Things have changed in the modern day time to create the issues that we're facing now. And there's some solutions we're going to prove to you with personal proof, our own stories, social proof, our friends' stories, scientific proof, and we're going to talk about the protocol. So that's kind of our agenda today. But our first question, the first kind of survey question we have is that, would you guys agree that there's a metabolic problem in America, Kelly?
1,000,000%.
John?
Metabolic problem? Trying like a metabolic pandemic, maybe.
Exactly. And would you agree that in the next 5 to 10 years, it's going to go up or down? It's going to increase or not? Kelly, what do you think?
Oh, it's
going to go up. Yeah, it's going to go up. And then the last question is
increase 5 times fold,
Probably. Because we're bringing the children into it, aren't we? I mean, it's not just as we're getting older, it's the kids. Good gravy. It's the kids. For me, it's my grandkids, my great-grandkids. For you, it's your children and soon to be your grandchildren. And then the last question I would have is, would you agree that most Americans, maybe not you personally, but most Americans spend $6 to $10 a day on breakfast, sodas, smoothies, chips, candies, power bars, power drinks, granola bars, muffins? Yeah.
That's probably on the low side.
Yeah. So these $6 to $10, right? Okay. So is there a need? We've agreed there's increasing. Yep. All these things are there. So how we got here, John, is this, isn't it? It's about the fact that there's a metabolic issue. And one of the things that we know it's a metabolic issue is because the leading causes of death are all related to metabolic health, cardiovascular disease, dementia, Alzheimer's, diabetes, cancer. The big ones are all metabolically related. Therefore, they are reversible. Therefore, they are reversible. So what we want, our goal is for you guys to be able to have a healthy life at the end of your lifetime, isn't it? Mm-hmm. We don't want you to have, it's like money. We don't want you to have too much money at the end of the money. We don't want you to have too much life at the end of your health. And Cheryl's mom and her grandparents are classic examples, all living into the 90s, close to hundreds.
Yep.
And and totally with us, fit, ready to go, argumentative, stubborn, obstinate, and lovable,
Yep.
but healthy. They didn't need to be toted around. They didn't need all kinds of ping pong balls in front of a framework or anything else like that. So we want to have our lifetime go as long as our health time. And we want that for you too. So how did we get here? Guys, this is the slide that says our food ain't what it used to be. It just ain't. And I'm not going to go into all this history, but look at all the things that have been done to our food, starting with tobacco. Tobacco companies realized that if they had sugar into the cigarettes, it becomes more addictive. They realized if they took fiber out of the food, it would increase the shelf life.
Right.
Now, that was important during the war because food had to go across and not spoil. But guess what? They never put it back in. And if you look at the greater history of food, when God made the food that came out of the ground as plants, he wrapped it in fiber. I think he had an idea. And man decided to take it out and never put it back in. And then we got using more inventions, hydrolyzation of oil. That's putting oil in hydrogen and making a liquid into solid, especially oils. Guys, peanut butter. Peanut butter is a classic example of hydrolyzation in an oil. If you make your own homemade peanut butter, eventually it separates. And you got to block the stir back up. Now it's good stuff. But you have to put it, hydrolyzation makes it solid. Well, they took cottonseed oil, which is a highly toxic, considered toxic ingredient, hydrolyzed it, and made it into what's called Crisco.
Crisco.
And your grandparents use that. And it's like gluten slider. I mean, it's a lubricant that I don't know why they don't use it in race cars, because that's just
That'd be a great alternative fuel for NASCAR.
Exactly. But you know how they market it is they go, it's digestible. And the American Heart Association, after receiving $1.7 million, says, hey, it's heart healthy. Guess what? It's heart healthy. And that made it what? Allowed to be on store shelves at the cost of what? The natural oils. The natural what? Well, then we used to have lard and butter and ghee. Those got pushed away as bad because fat makes you fat. Another lie. Fat makes you fat. They had all these low carb oils. Did obesity go down? Did bellies go slower? No, they've only expanded. And so then what happened is that Mr. Kellogg came up with this idea that we need to sell more cereal. So his slogan became what? The most important meal of the day is
breakfast.
Yeah. Now, it is important when you break your fast. It's important, but it doesn't have to be at 6 or 7 in the morning at all, because you're fasting. You want to keep the fast going. And then what happened was we had all the big medias going. We had all that, and you guys were grocery store babies. So when mom would push you around the cart, right? When you'd be eyeball level to the Toucan and the Captain and Tony and
the Tiger, they're great.
And everybody wanted their own cereal. I mean, Kelly, you had to have different than your brothers. I mean, you couldn't have.
Yeah, because I was all about the toy. I could have gave a crap about the cereal, but we used to fight over the toys.
Exactly. So they got you, and you knew the choices because of media. Well, guess what? Along comes the guys that had the sugar in the tobacco, and they bought up the food companies. They bought the food companies and brought the sugar with them. They brought their laboratories and their psychology of chemistry, knowing how to make things more palpable.
Didn't that happen when they got regulated to where you have to be 18 to buy?
Yeah, when the cigarettes got regulated, they needed another venue. And they went exactly that way, John, to look for more ways to expand their profits. You know, so Altaria or Philip Morris, American Tobacco, those guys all ended up buying the cereal companies and the food companies. And now they make it highly addictive, right? And then came in the high fructose corn syrup. That was even before the high fructose corn syrup. And when they're making it, engineering the food so that you'll want more and crave more, they're doing what? They aren't adding fiber. They're adding starches, salt, omega-6, which are those oils, the seed oils, and sugar. And so making it that. And so then what happened was when they got out of the food industry, it was right in time for pharmacy and big ag to come into play. So this is what our landscape looks like. We want it to be that. We want it to be that. But this is what we have. We got big food. Now they're giving us more and more of the same stuff that the tobacco companies engineered. But now they're even those people that are getting the shots, the GLP-1 shots, those kinds of things, because that's supposed to suppress your appetite, which it does synthetically, which we'll talk about later. But when it does that, food companies are smart. They have already re-engineered the food to bypass that. So it's more potent to get past that to do what? To negate what you're already, these people are spending hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars to do without adjusting their lifestyle. Without adjusting their lifestyle. All the while, these guys are waiting for you. Because they know you're going to be eating this all your life. You're going to put in this stuff in all your life. And once they get you over here, they've got you for what? All your life. All your life. And some of these guys are even double dipping. They're not only pharmaceutical, but they're agricultural. So they're on both sides. Not only do they grow it, they process it, make sure it's being processed, and then we're going to get you with the pharmaceutical. And John likes saying the yum yum.
Yeah, the yum yums.
So we are caught in the middle, aren't we?
Yum yum.
We're dead center unless we do something to break it. And we've done that. We've been able to do that. Just to show you that I'm talking about the truth. Here's me. Kelly, you haven't seen this one. But there's me. And there's me. Superman.
Holy shit. I mean, holy crap.
Really, that's not really me in the x-ray, but that's what it would look like. Think about that. Think about when you see somebody like this and you can't unsee it, that's what's underneath there.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that. Here we go. This is me. Now, Mom says I can't buy another pair of pants because that's 28 inch now. This is
no, you're getting no more, George.
No more. I've been told that. So I'm not allowed to do it anymore. I get that.
Well, we're getting ready to buy my husband new pants because his are falling off.
Yeah, there you go. You're welcome.
I said I just wish it could go from his belly to his butt, but you know.
There you go. It's fun. I love it. So what we're looking at, guys, is I call it diet whack-a-mole. It's real. I was thinking the other day, Kelly, and I put together some of the things I went through. I didn't go through all of them. I didn't go through the fertility diet, but almost every one up here I've been through and more.
Oh, me too.
You know, I just start looking. I'm like, it's diet whack-a-mole. It's the diet of the day. It's like, I'm going to try this. I'm going to try that. I'm going to try this. I'm going to try that. But hungry always wins. Hungry always wins. And so here's some things just to prove it to you. People only think short term. I'm going to do this. And that's January 1. Come January 4th, you've already blown
January
it. Right?
4th, Fred, January 2nd.
Yeah.
I don't even do it.
I don't know how many times I'll be like, I'm going to start doing this January 1st. And I go the first day, I'm doing good. Next day comes around, I'm like, yeah, screw that.
Yeah, screw that. It's a flash and we fail.
Yeah.
And then you go, okay, all or nothing. I'm going to cut all of these out. I'm not going to ever. Okay, fine. And what happens is, yeah, but it's destructive because now all your mind does is think about that thing. That thing. And it brings it up emotional. And then you nibble on it the first time, and now you got guilt and shame. You know, you feel guilty to yourself, and you feel ashamed. And now you don't want to admit to anybody because you're already told, I'm going to do this. And you're pontificated. And now, so how's that working for you? Well, you know how it is, you know. And then you go, I can do this on my own. I can do it on my own. I'm a big boy. I'm a big girl. I'm an adult. I can do it on my own. And as quick as you do that, your family and friends start ridiculing you, don't they? Like, oh, so you think
I'm
you're
guilty.
better than us, right?
I'm
You
guilty
think-
of that one.
You
Yep.
think you're better than us. You think you're, and then so then you're all by yourself, and that's no fun. It's okay in the community, but if everybody was doing it, that'd be cool. But nobody else wants to do it because they know up here we're number one and number two. And so then I'm going to exercise. I'm going to train for a marathon. I'm going to lift weights. I'm going to the gym. I bought this membership to the gym and I haven't been there, kind of a thing, right? Or you go the first 3 times and then like, well, I'll come tomorrow, which is next Thursday of the month of 5 months from now. And then you're like, why am I paying for this membership? I'm never using it. And the other thing is that exercise, you cannot out exercise a poor diet.
Yeah, no matter how hard you try.
Exactly. How many people will go on the treadmill for an hour, and then the first thing they do is grab a big fruit smoothie with more calories than they just got done burning. And they don't know why it doesn't work, right?
Or a protein shake or a protein bar or
Exactly.
not realizing all it does is spike your levels.
Yep. That's what we know. We exactly know that. And then poor sleep and high stress. No one wants to talk about that, but that derails everything because that's hormone. It's hormonal. And hormones are what we're talking about. The hormones matter. And stress matters. It derails things with cortisol like this. It shuts things down. It shuts the brain down. And then there's always the magic pills and shots and potions and lotions. And you think that I'm going to take this and it's going to do that. It's going to do some magic thing. But we've all learned that's temporary, a waste of money, right?
Mhm.
So just quickly want to show you what I've gone through. Here's some of my numbers. So in 2010, I was pretty much normal numbers. In 2019, I hit 600 on my blood glucose and 14.6. That's extremely high. I want you to know that's extremely high. And to solve that, I went into a program that cost me about $200 a month where I measured my food by the gram. I have 2 scales. And exactly. And I'm cupping sizes and all this and weighing it and counting every little thing. That did not last 2 years. Now, it worked, but it failed the same way the things we just talked about.
Mhm.
Now, this last October, I tried to basically kill myself. I went to 834 on blood glucose and 18.1. That's life-threatening. I needed immediate medical attention. They should have put me in the hospital. I was surprised. Once I saw these numbers, I should have been dead, literally dead.
Mhm.
But I've been saying, yeah.
Surprised
but I've
they
been-
didn't ask you from the movie The Sixth Sense there, George.
There you go. But I've been safe, so we're good. So I'm here. I'm going to help. And after 107 days, I was now normal on the protocol. So here's some of the signs. And John Kelly, did any of these recognize and resonate to you at all that you might have ever had?
They're too little, but I bet I have all of them.
All of them besides number 11 for me.
Yeah. Other than
Not low T, but I didn't have PCOS.
you didn't have
I didn't have that.
no. But there's I had them all. I freaking urination, always hungry, always thinking about the next meal, eating even though I wasn't hungry. Need a nap after eating. Just a gazillion of them. But these are what we're really talking about. These are where they start rearing their heads. These are the signs that you have insulin resistance. Now, if you're on here and you're watching or listening to this in the future and you go, well, insulin, I'm not diabetic. You're missing the point. It's insulin resistance at a cellular level. It doesn't mean that you're diabetic. It doesn't mean that you're insulin or type 2 diabetic. You're probably on the path towards it.
Correct.
Because they do not measure insulin.
Yeah, because your A1C may be a 5.6, which is considered normal, but it's on the high end of normal.
Yeah.
Well, that means
Because
you're
they
on
don't
road
measure
to-
it. They don't measure insulin. They don't have a test for it. If they had a test for it that was reliable, now could they have a test for it? Do they have the money and the science and the research to build a test that could help prevent people from getting that level? I believe they can.
They
But-
they technically do have a test, George, because if you take your lipid panel and take your triglycerides divided by your HDL, that will show you what your ratio is for insulin resistance. But they don't tell you that information.
Yeah, why is it only us that tells the world?
Yeah,
Because the
thing
drug
is-
companies rule the world.
right.
Exactly
The thing is,
right there.
You know what your triglycerides are. You take your HDL and divide that, and if you're 1.5 or lower, you're doing awesome. You're controlling your insulin. You're insulin sensitive. You're doing good. But if you're between 1.5 and 2, you're on the road to becoming diabetic. If you're over 2, you're diabetic. It's just
So what do you do again? I forget. You take your
take your triglycerides and
Yeah.
divide it by your HDL. It's mine. When I did that, when I found that out, I was at a 6.4.
I'm going to check that out because I did have labs done a few months before I started this, just to, and I still got those, and I don't go again until it's a little bit now. But
Right.
believe it or not, my labs did not run bad. Believe it or not, but
I believe it.
doesn't mean I was not. I wasn't. Doesn't mean I was healthy.
Yeah, but like mine, I mean, I've been tracking my triglycerides for the last 20 years because when I worked at the cheese plant, we kept the wellness programs and tried to figure that stuff out. And when they first started those years ago, my triglycerides were in the 1400s. So, that was, yeah, I don't want to know what my ratio was for that with HDL. But I know I brought it down tremendously since then. But even still, before doing this protocol, I was at 225 for my triglycerides. And with my HDL being at 35, that comes out like a 6.4. So I was 3 times over what was considered normal or healthy. So,
Well, I'm excited for my husband to get his labs done on his liver because his enzymes have been. He goes in spurts where they're just through the roof, and then they're, and so I'm excited to see what his labs are. I don't think he goes for another month or 2, but I bet it's a lot better.
Now,
yeah, I need to get mine done, but I haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
what was his main consumption during the day?
Of Pepsi? I would say anywhere from 12 plus.
A day.
Yes.
Cans,
First thing he did when he got up in the morning, boom. Last thing he did before he went to bed. I mean, he'd drink it like they were water, because he was always thirsty. And all of a sudden he would get the sweats. I got to eat something. I got to sit down. I'm like, dude, it's because your blood sugar's going poof.
It's because
And
you
then it's
skyrockets, and then it's plummeting. Yep.
Mhm. And he's down
12 ounce or 16 ounce cans or 20 ounce bottles?
12 ounce.
12 ounce.
But now he's down to maybe 1 a day, sometimes none, 1 or 2 max, but then sometimes none. So, that's a big thing for him. And he went cold turkey.
Okay.
He didn't have any for probably 3 or 4 days. And then he wanted one and he goes, oh, it tastes like crap. It's all
Yeah.
sugary.
Yeah. Before doing this, I would probably drink, 1 to 2 liters of Diet Dr. Pepper a day. And if I didn't have the 1 liter, then there was at least 2 20 ounces at least.
Yeah.
But then I did the protocol, and I think I had my first one probably 2.5, 3 months after starting the protocol. And the very first sip, man, I literally spit it out and like, no, dumped it down the sink. I can't stand the taste of it now.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I'm not a huge, I only like Pepsi when I'm drinking it with my alcohol, but other than that, I don't.
that's why you're diabetic right there.
I'm not diabetic, damn it.
Not diagnosed yet.
Yeah.
So when we look at insulin resistance, guys, it is a root cause. And so if we can get rid and get control of insulin resistance, all the other things go away. All the other things go away.
When I first came across that and I heard about that, I was like, there is no way those are all tied together. And sure enough, they're all tied together, believe it or not. And it's amazing how one little thing causes all that.
Yep.
It is amazing. So when guys, if you belly fat and weight loss is hard, if you're always thinking about food, you got belly fat, hard belly fat. And John and I, we were talking earlier today, like brushing your teeth. I remember they used that's different. My gums used to bleed. They don't do that.
Yeah, because the inflammation we used to have, so much of it, you brush your teeth and your gums would bleed. Now that there's no inflammation, you can brush them. I mean, hell, I tried to get them to bleed the other day, and I'm over there just jabbing at them like as hard as I could.
I would be afraid if I was your teeth, because John, you're not a small guy.
No, I'm not. But yeah, I tried to make them bleed the other day, and I couldn't get them to bleed. I was like, holy cow.
Yeah, I just noticed that too. And then, brain fog, energy, vision. I had cataracts. I'm getting my next cataract taken care of Wednesday. I'm going to be so excited. But when I went into the eye doctor and they looked at my eyes, they looked like the lenses, the color was orange. They looked like oranges.
Oh my God.
Luckily I'm blessed because there is no blood sugar damage to my capillaries. No retinopathy issues.
Yeah, believe it or not, the 25 years that I did type 2 diabetes, luckily I hadn't had any issues with my capillaries in my eyes either. I don't know how, but that's one thing my doctor was always like, man, you got good eyes for being diabetic. And I'm like, hey, don't jinx it, sir.
Yeah, really. And so maybe you have headaches, migraines, aches and pains. Kurt was talking about it. I talked to Kurt's mom yesterday, and she's 88, and she's on a farm, and her feet, she now noticed she can move her feet, her toes and everything. She's excited. She's out running the farm, literally running the farm.
I didn't think about that until you mentioned that earlier too, and I was like, holy crap, no, that's true, because I'm getting where I can actually. Because like with my neuropathy, I couldn't move my toes. I could move my big toe, but my four little ones, I couldn't move them. They all move at once or not at all. Now I'm getting where I can actually separate them and actually move individually. So, to me, that's a big win there. I just shows you how much the neuropathy is reversing from doing them.
So everybody, we're about 10, 15 minutes from being done. So I want to give everybody a free way of taking care of this whole problem, and then we're going to talk about what really works. We're going to talk about a free way, and the free way is like when someone asks me for free advice, I tell them to F off. And what that stands for is fast, the order of food, fiber, fat, and protein. The P, just like the Filipinos, is silent, but there's no C. There's no carbs talked about. So it's fast, order of food, fiber, and fat, and protein. And what we do in our protocol, which works for us, is that we use some aids. We use a little bit of help. We start our day, and rather than having a breakfast of fupalapes or something like that early in the morning, we start drinking a chlorogenic tea. We drink a concentrated extract patented tea right there. John's got it. And what we do is that right there helps get us through the morning. That gets us through the day.
Got to do the
Exactly. And it even tells you how far to put water in, right?
Right.
It's dumb, silly, stupid, right? And so what happened is they took the fiber out of our food. So what we do we use a patented product that has 4 patents on it, just on the fiber, and we introduce the fiber to us in front of at least our biggest meal. If not, some of us do it in front of both meals. And Kelly's mom would love to weigh 100 pounds. She's down to like 95 or whatever she's at 4'11". But she's not trying to lose weight. She wants to maintain her weight, and she's using it because insulin resistance is in the brain is type 3 diabetes. You may know it as Alzheimer's or dementia, but it is truly reversible with enough intervention and early enough intervention. That's being proven more and more.
Yeah, so sugar in the brain for an adult is Alzheimer's. Sugar in the brain for a child is considered ADHD. So they're just And that's all it is. It's excess sugar in the brain, and your brain just starts slowly decaying from the mental stasis. Just
Yep.
And so we want to do, so we've given you some social proof. We've given you some of the background and stuff. So now we're going to look at the scientific proof and who says that what we say is actually real. There's over 20 studies that you can look, study, read. Want them? Let me know. I'll send them to you. There's over 20 of them, and some of them come from the greatest institutions that we're going to talk about. But the first thing I want to do, if you are on here and are taking medications, go to the PDR.net. That's the Physician's Desk reference, and look up any of your medications that you're taking. I double dog dare you to go look them up. And when you look at that medication, one of the things you're going to see is the last thing is called a box warning. And I call it the black box warning because when you go in there, I forgot on metformin. How many pages are there on metformin, John? Did you say?
There's 3 pages in the PDR for just metformin. Lists every drug that it's in. Just metformin alone. That's not.
And think what it is on all the shots. Those people that get in the jabs. Look at the things, the disease, the oh my gosh.
Yeah, the GLP-1 shots.
Yeah, look at the GLP-1s, whatever you're taking. Look at those. If that doesn't make you slow down, I can't help you. So we're going to look at one of the researches done. Now this was done in 1991 at the Cleveland Clinic, which is the number one heart hospital in the world. And they said such a product. Now they're talking about our fiber. Remember, we're putting the fiber back in that the food industry took back out. We call it the balance.
Little bad boy.
Right there. Such a product, if taken regularly, could reduce cardiovascular risk on a population basis, potentially decreasing the need and or dose for lipid-lowering prescription drugs. Wow. Now, who would not want you to know about that? Big Pharma.
Big Pharma.
But you know what? It's listed in here. So who knows who should know that it's in there? The doctors, the prescribers. It's in there. It's in there. But then let's look at this one. This is a fun one. Glucose. Let's look at comparing to metformin. Let's just say that Kelly, we took you out to Salmon Leaders or whatever the restaurant in town is, and we gave you 2 Eggo waffles, 2 tablespoons of syrup, and 10 ounces of orange juice. Now, once we lifted you up off the floor from the glycemic shock of 89 carbs, 51 total sugars, and 420 calories, and that balance lowers that spike by 43%. Metformin does maybe 28 on a good day. 30.
Metformin's 25 to 30% plus all the side effects. Where this is 43%. It's a natural nutraceutical, which is plant-based, no side effects. Yeah, that alone right there to me is worth $1.70 a day.
Yep.
And then you come over here, and now let's talk about the GLP-1 side of the world. That's our tea. That's our tea, our chlorogenic acid tea, which also is patented. We have a patent on everything. There you go. Now, what it does, that GLP-1, it increases your natural GLP-1 by 60%. That's double plus what the synthetics are doing, again, without the side effects. Look up in the PDR.net, guys. Look those up.
Because the GLP-1 is actually a natural produced hormone in your gut.
You already have it.
Yep. So that's the reason why this works so well, because this helps produce the GLP-1, helps stabilize your blood sugars while you fast, helps curb the food noise and food hunger so you don't get the snacky moods. Cool. You take this when you eat. This way it wraps the carbohydrates or whatever you eat in the soluble fiber. It acts like a colander, so you can't consume as much, and that's why it drops at 43%. I mean, right there. That's 1 day's worth, all for what, $5 and some change? $6 if you round it up on the high side.
Yeah.
And you can't, I mean, I can't get it cheaper than that at the grocery store.
Nope.
And so here, this is a proof of my F off. Fast, fast, fats and fibers and proteins. See how nice that works versus this silly red line? Guys, every time you eat, it doesn't matter if it's a little snack or if it's Golden Corral. Your body doesn't know the difference. It's being fed, and it's going, all right, insulin, get it going. And if you're eating the carbohydrates, you just amped it up. You amped it up. And what your body has to do is try to recover from what you just did to it. And you do it every 2 hours, maybe 3 hours. If you ate at 7 or 8, then you have something in between there and lunch. Someone had a cupcake or whatever, or some M&Ms and whatnot. Then you have lunch. Then you crash after lunch and you get a Death Valley bar. Then you get home and you have whatever, and then you eat late, and then you have another snack before you go to bed. You ate 6 times in a day, 7. You never give your body a rest until you actually fast. That's why fasting is important. The longer we can fast, the better. John's got a picture for you.
All right, there, what we call the roller coaster. It's backwards because of Facebook. Unfortunately, I can't fix that, but it's a roller coaster. You eat breakfast, eat lunch, have a snack, eat dinner, have a snack. That's 5 times a day. But the thing is the way the American diet is today, with the sports drinks, the flavored water, all that stuff. We end up having 11 to 12 meals on average because your body doesn't know the difference between whether you're having a sugary drink or an actual meal. It triggers the synapses in your taste buds, which triggers your brain, tells your pancreas to produce insulin because something sweet's coming. That's just the way your body works.
And you want to see, you want to see that feast going on? Go to a kid's soccer match, and every mom's got a bag of treats and drinks, and all the drinks have colors in them. And all the food they have is all carbohydrates made out of cornstarches, flours, salt, omega-6 oils, sugar.
Those cornstarches and all that are sweeter than natural sugar is. So it don't taste sweet, but it triggers the sweetness, and that's why a high fructose corn syrup is so bad for your liver, because your liver has a really good self-defense mechanism to put so much sugar in, but then pushes sugar out to the bloodstream to protect itself. That's why your glucose gets high. That's why all that. But with a high fructose corn syrup, it's got a way to bypass that self-defense mechanism, and that's what plugs up your liver to become fatty. That's why you get non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. And people don't understand that. Once you get the NAFLD, you get too much of it, then that's when the fats in your liver start pouring out in your bloodstream, and that's what causes your high triglycerides. And that's what people don't understand either. So, if you have a high triglyceride, you got a better chance of a heart attack than you do having high blood pressure or stroke. It's all because of poor diet. And
I think a lot of it, my husband's with the fatty liver was, all the Pepsi. Look, knowing what I know now, I'm like, holy crap, that was probably worse than any beer he's ever drank. And it's scary.
Yeah, the amount of beer he drank was not even close to his daily consumption of Pepsi, that's for sure.
Right. I don't know about you, George, with you being diabetic, did the dietitian or nutritionist ever tell you about like your proteins and fats raising your glucose? No. They always told me to watch your sugar and your carbs. And then when we did carbs, stay away from your simple and refined carbs, but your complex carbs are okay. But they'll gradually increase your glucose, but they won't spike it like the others will. When they come to find out, proteins spike it, but they gradually increase it too.
Yeah, well, you need
a tiny bit.
Yeah, you need to eat wheat toast. Yeah, right. Just go to wheat toast. Which one? How do so just have wheat toast. Yeah. Let's look at an ingredient list one time. Just one time. Maybe pick, and how many choices?
When I really started watching my carbs when I worked at the jail, I went into the kitchen one time and I grabbed the bag of the white bread and I grabbed the bag of wheat bread, because while people are in custody, we have to follow a dietitian's approved diet in order to meet jail standards for here in Texas. So we always had to have a special diet for diabetics, a special diet for these people, depending on what the dietitian said. So, of course, the dietitian is like, hey, you got to have wheat bread versus white bread. Well, I went and looked at it. White bread had 12 grams of carbs for one slice of bread, 12 grams of carbs. I looked at the wheat, the whole wheat, it's supposed to be good, had 13 grams of carbs. It had more carbs than the white bread. But it's supposed to be better for
diabetic. For the diabetic.
Correct. Then you get like the sugar-free, like Jello pudding pops or sugar-free Jello. Yeah, it doesn't have sugar listed, but it has sugar alcohol listed as an ingredient, and that's worse for you than sugar is. It's like you can't win. Your body's being hijacked right in front of you, and there's not much you can do about it. That's why I get so passionate about this, is because I spent 25 years following their advice. Almost killed me twice. And now I came across this natural protocol who it's reversing everything that took 25 years, and I reversed it in a month. And then people want to sit there and call me a quack or whatever for looking outside the box and fixing my health. It's ridiculous.
Nobody's going to do it for you.
No, exactly. You got to be your own advocate towards your health. Otherwise, you're going to end up Pinewood box. It's just that simple.
Well,
So
and I
tell me,
think
what have you seen? What's going on? Where did you come from, and what's going on to date with your story?
Well, you were a pain in my ass and kept saying, Kelly, you gotta try this, gotta try this, gotta try this. I'm like, oh my God, what is this crap? Yeah, exactly. Being a kid. And I was like, fine, I'll try it. I started on a Friday because I think I picked it up from you Thursday. I started on a Friday. Yeah, I'm not a sweet person. I used to be. Give me a whole bag of chips, I'll eat them because I like salt. But, which I haven't had one hot Cheeto since I've started this, and it's been 8 weeks, so I'm doing damn good. But
well, on Cheetos, here's one thing. John and I were laughing the other day because I went down to the convenience store and I got a little bag, the little ones, the very little ones. Do you know how many servings are in a little bag?
Little
Three. 3 servings are in a little bag.
I ain't gonna tell you how much I used to eat.
3 servings.
There's what, like 15 chips in the whole bag?
On a good day.
Yeah.
I've never seen anybody take a bag and fold it up. Well, I've had my number for today. I just put it away. Good gravy. It's like open the bag, open the mouth, and let them roll in, right?
Yeah.
Anyway,
that's all right. So I was like, got sick of listening to you basically. And I'm like, okay, I'll try this. I've tried everything. The best diet, like my doctor says, well, you've lost weight before, which I lost 100 pounds before. But that was being not eating. I was drinking way too much. I was in a really bad relationship. So the only thing I had control over in that part of my life was my food. So guess what? The less I ate, the better I felt. My mom used to make me eat. She'd bring me to her house. You're eating. You know how hard it was for me to even put anything in my mouth? Well, then, the opposite happens. Then you get happy and then, but, so I'm like, I know I need to lose weight. I'm tired of feeling like crap, tired of not sleeping good, just, the premenopause crap, whatever. So I started on Friday. By Sunday, I remember waking up and I was like, wow, I feel like I have no stomach anymore. I mean, I still did, but just the bloatedness was gone. And the more I took it, and even the girls that I one of the body shops I go to, she's like, oh my God, you're like on a roll. I was like, blah, 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 but one thing I did notice right away, like after maybe a couple weeks, was all my shirts got big. I'm still wearing the same pants, but they're baggy in the legs now, a little bit baggy in the butt. My stomach's gone down. But the thing I noticed the most was like this shirt, I used to put it on and power stretch it. And now so I mean, the scale, I'm down 20 pounds, but the scale, that's me.
Let's see if I can read it to you real quick. It says, you're not addicted to food. You're addicted to sugar and seed oils. Steak doesn't make you binge eat. Doritos do.
Yes, it does. And I have to tell you, even like I like to eat healthy, I always have, but it's just a matter of buying the good healthy stuff. Like I can't wait for my tomatoes and everything in my garden because that's what I'm so excited for. But like tonight I did BLTs and I like turkey bacon anyways, which I know that's not best for you either, but and I just eat it on lettuce with lettuce
Turkey
and
bacon.
tomatoes. Yeah.
Turkey bacon's actually really good for you.
I could probably eat a whole package. I mean I don't, but I just put it
very good
between.
source of protein, and it might have a little bit. Well, depends on what fat alternative they put in, because I don't know how much fat will be in turkey, but
Yeah. But yeah, so I just eat it with lettuce, and tomatoes. I'm like, I love veggies. Now, a long time ago I didn't, but I do now. But I mean, I can't eat watermelon anymore. I can't eat any cantaloupe, any kind of melons, kiwis. My lips start burning. Cherries, real cherries. I was eating some one day and I'm like, oh my God, my lips started swelling and I couldn't feel them. And I'm like, what the hell? I can't eat any of that stuff now. And I think it's because all the crap they've put in our foods, they've modified genetically things, and it's just.
And see, the biggest misconception on that is everybody's like, well, it's genetically modified because it resists pest and all that. So that's not, pests don't survive that well. When in all reality, okay, yeah, that may be what the original purpose of genetically modified was for, but it didn't happen that way. It's, if you take like an apple today is like this big around, where years ago it wasn't that big.
Yeah.
Same thing, wild carrots. Carrots were like that long and like that, like real, like a pencil thick, but a lot of fiber. Now you look at them, they're like this long and that big around. It's like a freaking cucumber, but orange.
Yeah, that if you're buying vegetable fruits and vegetables, if the SKU number is 5 digits, then it's organic.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So you look for,
even then you still got to be careful because it may have some type of pesticide or herbicide on
that,
it too.
well, or that coating that they do. What's it called? Clean or Glean or something. There's that one coating that they put on food, so it'll increase its shelf life.
I don't remember what it is.
It's a peel. It's called a peel, and that increases.
I just know a lot of the fresh produce like that, they use Roundup to kill for weeds and all that, and Roundup has like glyphosate in it, which is.
I mean, you might as well just go like this.
Right, and that's why they so much better because they're tested and they're nothing in them, NSF certified.
Yeah.
Third party tested for mold, mildew, pesticides, herbicides, and it's equivalent to 7 or 6 cups of broccoli, 5 apples with the peels, and 2 cups of black beans is what the equivalent is in this one little package.
Oh, wow.
And this is $1.70 for this packet a day. Can you buy that much fiber at the grocery store for $1.70?
Nope.
No. That's why I do this. That's why I get a very good quality fiber for the cheapest price I can find, and it works.
Yep.
So what John has showed you guys has 5 patents. Nobody else can make this. This is ours. Nobody else can make it. And if it was available, if the pharmacies could get it, if the pharmaceutical companies could get it, it would not be on the market. It would not be on the market. Why? Because then the rest, we wouldn't need the rest of them.
Nope.
We didn't need all those drugs.
Now that you mentioned that, one of the questions I've been asked is, if it's so good, why is it not in the stores to buy?
Why is it not in the stores? Absolutely great question. It was originally originally when Rexall made it, it was on the shelves. In 1991, right in there, it was on the shelves. But let me ask you, when was the last time you went to a store and had anybody knowledgeable enough to help you with anything?
Yeah.
Never.
Unless you got it from the pharmacist in the pharmacy.
Yeah. Right.
But that's the thing too, is like, if this was in the shelf on the store or the store shelf, first of all, it would jack the price up.
Yep.
Hardcore. Instead of being what it is now with our discount, they would be like 4 times the price it is because they got to be able to pay for shelf space, they got to pay for inventory, they got to pay for marketing, advertising, they got to
Mhm.
pay for the middleman to the ship it and all that. By not doing that, that's how they keep the cost down. And that's the reason why you see us talking about it, because they rely on guys like us or ladies like us as are distributors to do the word of mouth to get it out about
Mhm.
this. And that's what keeps the price down.
Oh yeah.
I think we lost George. Wonder if TikTok
Did you go to sleep?
no, we were doing this earlier too, and about around this time frame, on about 50 minutes or so, for some reason it popped in on like on my side. It popped up and said something about your feed to Facebook is gone and da 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 da. This,
Oh, okay. I had
but
issues before.
right, and then he had the same thing pop up too, but um, I didn't have it pop up this time, so that's why I'm wondering if it's something on his side. But the thing was, is when we did that last time, it was right after
Mhm.
we did a full jingle about another certain company. And then all of a sudden,
Sure.
bam. So we're wondering if we can't say jingles. Like we used to have the freedom to do jingles and all that on here. But I'm wondering if
Oh,
the algorithm is starting to get a little bit smarter and pick that up and start to
mm,
restrict us now.
imagine that.
Right. So, I mean, I could be totally wrong. I could be. I mean, it could be just a
Yeah.
technical on his side with power went out or some technical
Mhm.
issue. Technology is
Yeah.
wonderful. It wants to work, but it's a pain in the butt
Mhm.
when it don't want to work. But
Yeah.
but that's the thing though, is if we had this in the store shelves, price would be 4 or 5 times what it is now.
Oh
And
yeah.
I know a lot of people get hung up on the price of this. Yeah, because it's not cheap. No, it's not. But it's not rather expensive either. I mean,
Mm-mm.
I know people paying 3 times what this is a month for just the GLP-1 shot alone.
Oh yeah. Yep.
And
Yep.
that's what they're paying with their insurance and their
Mhm.
deductible or whatever. And granted, there's some people out there with insurances that do have a cheaper rate for that GLP-1 shot. And unfortunately, our product you can't get with health insurance because it's not a pharmaceutical. It's a
No.
nutraceutical. But,
Mhm.
but because of where it's listed in the PDR, that's what gives the privilege of being able to use the HSA, FSA card if you have one.
Yeah.
Luckily, that's how I got mine at first. Because I've watched I watched Dr. Kenny on this a couple times on TikTok. I watched Yvette a few times on this on TikTok,
Mhm.
and that's how I came across it. But then one day Dr. Kenny was talking about it, and I was like, oh, not this skeptical stuff. It can't be too good.
Oh, I
About
was very.
about to scroll on,
Uh-huh.
and he said, I can't remember exactly what he said, but he said something, and it just piqued my interest. I'm like, no, I'm going to stay and watch. And then about
Mhm.
20 minutes later, he talked about how they're going to start doing this with HSA FSA card, and I was like, oh, I'm in because I have
Right.
one of those. Because before, with me being former law enforcement, I didn't make much money to where I think I could
Mhm.
afford the 160 a month for the monthly subscription.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I'd love to try this, but I just can't figure out how to do it with the needs of my family and my kids and all that. So I just couldn't figure out
Sure.
how to do it. But then when that HSA FSA came out, then I'm golden. I got it. So I got it, and
Yeah.
that was January this year.
Mhm.
Started it, and not even. I mean, I started January 12th, and by February 4th, not even a full month,
Mhm.
risked my diabetes. I was down 60 pounds. Blood pressure was still high, but it was coming down.
Yeah.
Joint pain was gone. Neuropathy was improving, and most importantly, is my foot ulcer healed completely in that time
That's
frame.
awesome.
And I don't know if you've heard about the foot ulcer I had years ago. It took me 18 months to get that healed with just antibiotics and staying off of it as much as possible.
Jesus.
And yeah, so that's why I do get passionate about this, is because
Me too.
I should have been dead twice now. And
Mhm.
that last one, I mean, I really believe that if I didn't come across this in January and do it, I wouldn't have passed away in February. Because I mean, I didn't see it at the time because of the brain fog and all that kind of stuff with the mental
Mhm.
states crashing on me. I
Yeah.
was on the verge of going septic. And I couldn't see it. My wife did though, but
Mhm.
she didn't tell me about it because she was afraid if she did that I would turn into that hangry person and bite her head off.
Yeah.
And I'm sad to say, and I do regret saying it, that, yeah, I probably would have
Mhm.
because of my mental stasis going down because of
Oh
the
yeah.
disease. And It's sad to say that, yeah, this has cleared that up to the point that I do recognize those things now. Do I
Mhm.
feel bad for it? Well, yes, tremendously.
Yeah.
But at that time, you don't think of that because of the brain fog,
Nope.
because you don't make that connection. You think you're healthy, but you're really not.
Mm-mm.
And but we see it like I don't know sure how long you been doing this now.
So I'm on 8 weeks.
8 weeks. Okay, so 2 months. Yeah.
Mhm.
See, I'm 3 days will be exactly 5 months for me.
Okay.
But the thing is, I've met oh hundreds of people so far that are doing this
Mhm.
or looking at doing this, looking to do it,
Yeah.
probably thousands of people. But the thing is, just the people I've met by doing this, hearing their testimonies, seeing their stories,
Mhm.
it's it's a no-brainer. I mean,
Yeah.
hands down. And I understand where people are coming from of how much it is, or can I talk to my
Yeah.
doctor? Yeah, because I understand. I was the same way.
Yep.
But
Me
the thing
too.
is don't hold it against yourself, because we were
Mhm.
programmed that way from a young age because of the way we
Yep.
went to school, the way we learned at school, and
Mhm.
then how they always tell us trust your doctors study this, your doctor. Okay. Yeah, they do study this, but they
Mhm.
don't study the nutraceutical. They study medicinal treatment.
Mhm.
So
Here's a pill. Here's a pill. Here's a
yeah,
pill.
that's the reason why there's so many diagnoses of illnesses and stuff.
Uh-huh.
Like, I mean, you think about it. High cholesterol. They tell you how bad high cholesterol is, so they give you a statin drug to bring it down.
Mhm.
And statin drugs do really good at bringing it down. Yes, but the thing is it's not bringing down the right LDL.
What's our brain made out of? Cholesterol.
Cholesterol,
What does
correct.
that do?
And the funny thing about cholesterol is your liver makes 80% of the cholesterol for your body, right?
Mhm.
But your brain makes its own cholesterol.
Really? I never knew
And
that.
without the right building materials, which is cholesterol, it can't
Mhm.
make the right cholesterol. So that's the reason why you need the LDL, is because the LDL is a transporting molecule for the cholesterol. Now,
Mhm.
that's the problem with the statins. Statins bring down LDL and they bring down VLDL, but they do better at bringing down the regular LDL, the pattern A. You
Mhm.
need pattern A in order to transport cholesterol. Now, if you have a high one of the VLDL, which is pattern B, the small dense, and that's usually if you have that one high, your
Mhm.
triglycerides are high too. So if you can get your triglycerides down, you'll get that one down, and you end up having the more important one, the transporting pattern A. And that's
Right.
where people get mixed up on, because they just say, "Oh, the doctor said LDL." Well, they don't know the difference between pattern A and pattern B.
Mhm.
So if you get your pattern B down, then you're golden. But
Yeah.
what do I know? I'm not a doctor. I'm just
No, but I'm like, I've been learning tons of stuff. And it's funny
yeah.
because a girl, one of my friends started on it. She goes, you know, what kind of got me to start on it? Because I get really passionate about it. Like I like talk a million miles an hour when I'm talking to people. They're like, well, what are you doing? And she goes, you know what? You were on with that Dr. Kenny, you know, and I know, I said, trust me, I was one of the most skeptical people, but I think I mostly started to shut George up, to be honest with you. But I'm glad I did.
Right.
Because now he's getting
Yeah.
the last laugh. But and she goes, but I saw you on there. She goes, like you're a real person. I said, I know. I said, you see all this stuff, just like me and you talking. People might look at us like, who the hell are these two morons, you know, or something. But you know, it's just this protocol is the easiest thing I have ever done in my entire life.
It is.
Oh my
It is the
gosh,
very easiest thing. I got a message from George. Let's see what he says here.
he's probably like,
Yeah,
shut up.
no, his internet went out. So he
Oh
probably
crap.
can't get what's going on. That's all right. Not a big deal.
Yeah,
It's still showing that I'm sharing the Facebook Live according to my feed. So
is
I'm
it?
sure
I
he can.
can't tell because I don't even know if I am doing this right. I just get on. I mean, I don't know if it goes.
Yeah.
Does it go to?
If you being on StreamYard where he started it, it's still going to keep broadcasting because I shared it to mine too. So
Okay.
it still shows that I'm live and it still shows that I'm good on Facebook. So
Okay.
the thing
Because I
is,
don't know how to
you
do it
just
like
go to
shared
my
on
profile.
mine.
Yeah, just go to my profile.
Uh
And
huh.
then on the bottom right of the profile, just click on share, and then it'll automatically share it to your page.
Okay. All right.
So
Yeah, I'm gonna.
yeah, that way
Yeah.
everybody and then when you share it, just put at followers or at highlight in the comments. That way it
Okay.
notifies follows you, notifies
Okay.
your friends, and they can come back and watch it whenever.
Well, next time I'll do it the right way.
Or you can still do it.
Can you?
Yeah, because when we're done broadcasting, you can still go into my profile and hit share. And
Okay.
then put it in the comments, and it'll just take whatever video is, share it to your
Okay.
page. You can still access it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Do I
the
have to
beauty.
log in? Do you know? Because it says like Real Hope something log in. I don't know. I'm new to the StreamYard.
Probably on the StreamYard, yes. But if you just go to your Facebook profile,
Mm-hmm.
because you're got me as a friend on Facebook, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just go to my profile. You should see right there at the top of the post, and then just
Okay.
on the bottom right, click share.
Okay.
Type-
Oh, there you go. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, that's the good thing about Facebook. Once you post it, it's there.
Mhm. Cool.
It's not like a Facebook live. Well, I don't know. This might be like a Facebook live because where it's going through Facebook and it's showing it live, so it may
Yeah.
only be 30 days unless you download
Mhm.
it. It
Yeah.
may do that still. I don't know. I
Mhm.
have to look into that. But
Yeah.
either way, you still got 30 days. Worst case.
Sweet. All
So, yeah.
right. Well, I'm gonna clean up my kitchen now.
Yeah, no problem. If anybody's watching and if you want to jump in and try the protocol, like right there in the Kelly, right next to her name there, that is her discounted link. If you have a connection with her, click on, copy and paste that link, go there, get the protocol, then she'll be your journey coach through all this and help you through
Oh, yeah.
it. Because there is a learning curve. I mean,
There is.
not much, but there is a little one,
Mhm.
unless you're just don't really pay that close attention.
I-
Not, some people do.
I know.
So-
I have a friend that she's trying it and she just got her stuff and she's like, I'm going to be asking you lots of questions. So that's fine. I did,
But if you got a connection with me and you want to order from me,
Mhm.
down below you see that scrolling marquee that says that youfeelgreat.com. You take that, and right after my name, John, with a slash there, the slash on wellness is the rest of the link for me. Same thing with George. George, take that link down, scrolling down below, and put
Yep.
the slash and heal body. If you want George as your journey coach, I mean, we're all great to work with.
Mhm.
We help each other out.
Yep.
I don't know how many people that have been under other distributors who've
Mhm.
reached out to me asking for help because that person either doesn't know the answer or they're just too busy to get a question to right away. And they
Right.
actually forward them on to me and ask, hey, you busy? Can you answer this? No, not a problem.
Mhm.
We all work with each other. We all help each other. That's the beauty about
Mhm.
the Facebook group we have, Peak Performance Protocol.
Yeah.
It's for customers. It's for potential people that are looking into the product. You can go there. You can see the support you have between us distributors, people that
Yeah.
are customers, or people that are looking into it. There's like almost 3,000 people in that group now, and we just started it last November, so it's growing fast. So
Awesome.
there's no limit. I mean, we can throw as many people in as we can because we're here to help
Yeah.
everybody.
Yep.
So if you have any questions, reach out to us.
Definitely. Thanks, John. I appreciate it. And people, this stuff is, I mean, we're just normal people, and this stuff has been, in 8 weeks for me, life changing. I mean, I'm like, no more power stretching.
And the beauty of this is I'm down 80 pounds, and I've
Mhm.
did it all sitting in a recliner. I haven't been to the gym once.
I haven't done crap either.
And I changed my diet at first and cut all my
Yeah.
carbs out at first because I really wanted to make sure it did
Mhm.
well. But then when my wife started doing it the month afterwards, I started bringing my carbs back. Now we're back to eating the same way we did before. We just don't eat as often because we're fasting.
Yeah.
And I'm still improving.
Yeah,
My numbers
me
are still
too.
dropping. My weight is getting better. I mean, I'm still weighing the same amount, but my clothes are looser. I have to get another
Mhm.
belt soon, even though I just barely bought this belt. So
Right. Yep. I mean, I've always been a faster. I mean, always. But then I get home and eat everything but the kitchen sink. Now, I mean, I still fast all day. Once in a while, if I get really hungry, I do have some sunflower because I got to have my salt. I got some I take a small hand of sunflower seeds, which I know I probably shouldn't be eating those, but have that. Or, just something small, or hard-boiled eggs,
Yeah, that's the thing too. Is if it's during your eating time and you're hungry,
Mhm.
eat. Don't
Mhm.
ignore it. Eat. I mean, if you're legit hungry and it's within your eating window, eat something. Eat. I mean,
Mhm.
But if it's after windows close and it's fasting time, that's when the teas help take care of the curb noise and all that.
Yeah.
Make sure you get that 16 hours, unless you're, unfortunately, it's sad to say, because us guys, we don't have to worry about one hormone, so we can fast all we want, not have a problem.
Yeah.
But unfortunately for you ladies, you got 3 hormones you got to worry about. You got your proestrogen, estrogen, and progesterone, estrogen, and testosterone. So depending on what your cycle is, depends on how long you can fast. And I can try to help you with that, but with me lacking the anatomy for it, I can't dial it in.
It is. Some weeks I'm fine. Boom, I'm all,
Right.
I can go 24 more hours.
And see, like my wife, she had a partial hysterectomy. So she never had to worry about a menstrual cycle for years. But since we started doing this, we think she still has a little bit of one. So we learned a little bit more about how that Fast Like a Girl cycle from Dr. Mindy Pelz.
Yeah.
As we're looking at that and diving into that more, we're starting to see the notices and differences, and she's been improving a lot more following that schedule. So
I didn't think about that.
Very good book of knowledge there. The How to Fast Like a Girl by Dr. Mindy Pelz.
Okay. Cool. All right, John. Well, thank you, and thank everybody for joining us. Hopefully, you joined us. It's the best thing I've ever done, honestly. And I keep telling people, the weight loss is an added benefit, but it's also for your overall health, everything. So it's not just for weight loss. I can't believe how much better I feel. My skin looks better,
And you're not going to lose more than what your body can lose. That's one thing people ask me. I don't want to lose too much muscle. Well, the only reason you're losing muscle is because you're insulin resistant. You're insulin resistant, you're in fat storage mode, so your body's going to pull what it can so it's either burning sugar. If you don't have no sugar, it's going to break down muscle. That's where that comes from. So,
All right. Well, have a wonderful evening. Thank you.
Be safe
for
out there.
Chatting. All right. You too. Take care.
You too, man.
All right. Bye-bye.